What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Here we go.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. That was Linda Binda. This is a Cold Beer Confessional. In case you didn't notice, in case you didn't see it today, do you guys know that Elon Musk, because he was now supporting Trump, he decided to give $1 million away to swing voters in swing states for voting, obviously for Donald Trump. And this was as if it was a lottery, right? As if anybody could win it, anybody could be selected, and he was giving this money away, right? Life-changing amounts of money. It turns out he testified today, and it's not a lottery. Instead, most people had no chance of winning it. Instead, he is giving the money to political groups in these states, and these political groups are selecting people that they believe exemplify the MAGA movement or would be good for the MAGA movement. It says, a surprising day of testimony in which the billionaire's aide acknowledged his political group selected the contest winners. Not a lottery, not it wasn't free, not it was right, they're just selecting people. With 1 day to go before the tightly contested U.S. presidential election between Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump, lawyers for Musk pro-Trump America PAC sought to persuade Judge Angelo Faglita that the contest was not an illegal lottery, as Philadelphia's top prosecutor had alleged. Lawyers for the America PAC and its director, Chris Young, said the group doled out the funds based on who would be the best spokespeople for its pro-Trump agenda. So when he said, hey, go vote, we're giving away money to people who vote, what he actually meant was they were going to select people that they thought would do good to make more people vote for Trump. Pro-Trump agenda, despite the billionaire's assertion that winners would be chosen randomly. Now, Elon Musk multiple times said random winners. We will choose winners randomly. That's not true at all. Tesla CEO Musk had already given away $16 million to register swing state voters who qualified for the giveaway by signing his political petition. His group, America PAC, announced the winner from Arizona on Monday and said the final winner from Michigan will be announced on Election Day on Tuesday. America PAC launched the contest on October 19th. It is open to registered voters in 7 key battleground states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, who signed a petition pledging to support free speech and gun rights. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner, a Democrat, on October 28th sued to block the contest in Pennsylvania, alleging the payouts amounted to an illegal lottery with hazily defined rules. That's also another thing. You have to define rules when you're doing a giveaway like this. Krasner said in a court he would also seek financial penalties. Foglietta denied Krasner's bid in a brief written order and said he would lay out his reasoning later. Musk lawyers and lawyer Andy Taylor accused Krasner's office of trying to stifle the rights of Pennsylvanians by preventing them from signing the petition. He's not preventing people from signing the petition. He wants to stop the illegal lottery. Like, you can still sign the petition. They're trying to restrain citizens of Pennsylvania from signing a free speech and right to bear arms petition, Taylor said during a closing arguments. Musk became an outspoken Trump supporter this year and has promoted the former president on his X social media platform. He has so far given nearly $120 million to America PAC to promote its voter mobilization and registration efforts, according to federal disclosures. Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes will be critical in determining which candidate wins the 270 votes required to be declared the winner. One of the greatest scams In trying to persuade Foglietta that the giveaway was not an illegal lottery, Musk lawyers said that the giveaway was not a prize, but rather compensation for those chosen to serve as spokespeople for America PAC's pro-Trump agenda. So even though it was laid out as winners chosen at random, we're just going to give you this money for signing this petition, a lottery, right? Even though it was laid out as a lottery, the lawyers are now testifying that it's basically a job. We actually went through and decided that we're picking spokespeople for our America PAC's pro-Trump agenda, and this is their compensation, their payment for working. Young America PAC's director testified that he selected the winners out of a pool of candidates who appeared in videos for the group and allowed it to use their images after reviewing their social media and meeting them outside the event venues. John Summers, a lawyer for Krasner's office, said the admissions that the giveaway was not random made it not just an illegal lottery, but also fraud. If their story is true, Summers said in a closing argument, it's one of the greatest scams of the last 50 years. Summers showed the court a clip of Musk on October 19th, Trump rally saying America PAC would randomly award $1 million to people who signed the petition, $1 million to people who signed the petition. In the video, Musk said, all we ask is that the winners serve as America PAC spokespeople. Young said he was surprised to hear Musk describe the giveaway as random. So his own PAC, his own head of his PAC said, I'm surprised to hear him describe that as random at the rally. He also acknowledged that the winners signed non-disclosure agreements preventing them from speaking about the terms of the contracts. The giveaway falls in a gray area of election law, and legal experts are divided on whether Musk could be violating federal laws against paying people to register to vote. The U.S. Department of Justice has warned there was a big issue with this. You guys remember the 2020 election? I think it was 2020 or maybe it's 2016, where they were giving away like gift cards if you registered to vote to like Native Americans. And there was this big fucking lawsuit and shit. Elon Musk is like, hold my beer. See what we can get here. U.S. Department of Justice has warned America PAC that the giveaway could violate federal law, according to media reports, but federal prosecutors have not taken any public action. The Trump campaign is broadly reliant on outside groups for canvassing voters, meaning the super PAC funded by Musk, the world's richest man, plays an outsized role in what is expected to be a razor-thin election. Jumpstart your morning with the latest blah, blah from Reuters. That's all from Reuters.com and their coverage of it. I think we might have the clip here. Hold on. Oh, is this muted?
The ruling comes just a day before a Pennsylvania state judge has ruled billionaire Elon Musk's $1 million a day giveaway to voters there can continue. The ruling comes just a day before the presidential election on Tuesday. At the hearing in Philadelphia, amounted to an illegal lottery with Hazley.
I was hoping we would hear him say it.
Consumer
I remember when he announced
laws. For that the winners was not a
everybody was talking about
rather compensation for people chosen to serve as spokespeople.
Allow our rights to be trampled upon.
$16 million to registered swing state voters who qualify for the giveaway by signing his political petition supporting free speech and gun rights.
Make sure they vote early.
The offer is limited to registered voters in the 7 states expected to decide the election: Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Election Day. His giveaway falls in agreeing people to register to vote. The U.S. Department of Justice has warned America PAC the giveaway could violate federal law. According to federal disclosure,
No, for a fact.
I was hoping to hear the actual quote, but it doesn't sound like they got it there. That's fine. All right, so your boy Phil is finally back live. And after weeks of being away, he came back with, okay, guys, there's going to be an election, and everybody needs to vote a lot. Also, I'm going to retell the story about how I'm a secret agent. Really, Edward Snowden worked for the NSA, worked for the CIA when I was 12, knew about 9/11, all that bullshit. So here we go. Yeah, Joe Rogan was sucking his dick saying, I'm so happy you bought Twitter. You basically changed the course of history. We were going towards censorship, but now we're all free. He just took it the other way. Like, he limits what the left can say now, which is what the right always accused people of. He limits what the left can say now and then lets a shit ton of overt, over-the-top, crazy fucking right-wing speech on the platform. It's just the opposite. I think I have the clip of Joe Rogan sucking his dick. Hold on.
Well, I mean, there. If the Dems win this election,
Sorry, he clipped a bunch of it.
A moral
community notes.
Yes, in community notes. I think this was
what they're saying Trump is going to do if he gets.
Where is that? The first clip.
like 3 years ago.
Kill your squirrel.
Yeah,
Clean out the squirrel. I'm telling you, that's MAGA's George Floyd.
You don't have democracy.
Here it is.
Buying Twitter. Thank you so much for buying Twitter.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm not exaggerating when I think you changed the course of history. I really do. I really think you made a fork in the road. We were headed down a path of censorship and of control of narratives that is unprecedented. Forget about what they were able to do back when they had newspapers and the media under control. What they were doing with social media by suppressing information, and when you had a combined government effort, like what they were doing with the laptop story. We have 51 former intelligence agents saying that this is Russian disinformation. Take it offline. And Twitter complied. If you didn't buy that, we wouldn't have known that. We had no idea.
Exactly. No, it's. I mean,
The Twitter files literally had nothing in them. They were a big nothing burger, except for one right-wing politician who asked for that's the only politician or government servant who asked for anything to be removed was one right-wing politician and a guy that was trolling him.
The reason I bought it is because I'm pretty attuned since I was like the most interacted with user on Twitter before the acquisition.
He bought it by accident. I don't know if you guys know the story, but he called up Twitter and he's like, I'll give you $31 billion for it. And they're like, we don't really want to sell it, but it's not even valued worth that much. He's like, I'll give you whatever the amount was. I'll give you $30 billion for it. They're like, we don't want to sell it, but like it's not even worth that much. And he's like, well, I tried. So they call him back like 2 weeks later, and they're like, well, we'll take the $31 billion. He's like, no, I'm not interested. And they're like, no, you made a verbal contract to buy it. We've talked about it. You've got to buy it now. And ended up having to take him to court to make him buy it.
So before the acquisition, I had more interactions than then. Like there's some accounts like Obama and whatever had higher follow accounts, but I had the most number of interactions of any account in the system. So I was very attuned to like if they change the system, I can tell immediately. Like and I'm like something weird is going on here. You know, like so there's like I just got increasingly uneasy. And obviously when they deplatformed the sitting president, you know, deplatformed Trump, that was just insane.
He tried to back out of the deal, and he had to be taken to court to come through on the deal. He didn't buy it to save free speech. He didn't buy it because they were changing the algorithm. He didn't buy it for the Biden laptop story. He bought it by accident. He thought he could run his mouth and then back out, and he couldn't. All right, back to Phil crying.
November 4th. November 4th, 2024. Now it's the first time that I've ever done a live stream where I was typing in the date for the title. You know, I always put the title with the date. And I had a pause.
Menopause, I think was his pause.
I had to pause and reflect on the past 4 years.
So basically what he's saying is his followers have spent 4 years following him and listening to all his predictions about Trump coming back, Nassar Gassara, this person being assassinated, that person being rounded up, the blackout, the EBS, the everything happening. And you would have been in the exact same situation if you would have never listened to him at all, because nothing happened. We're still having a fucking election, and it's still up to the votes. So literally, you've wasted the last 4 years hanging on every word he put out, and nothing came true. Nothing changed. Nothing was revealed. No one came out. All he's doing is being like, well, yeah, you could have done the last 4 years without me and probably kept some more money in your pocket and not made me a multimillionaire, but whatever.
When I reflect, I don't reflect on how the last 4 years was for me personally and or my family. You could probably make a really good argument that my life improved. I think I can make a really good argument that my life improved in some ways, but didn't in others. I lost a lot of people.
No, it improved dramatically. right? He went from not even $200, less than $200 in the bank, to multiple homes, millions of dollars he's made off you guys watching. Even the people, it's like, I've never sent him a dime. It doesn't matter. If you're watching, he's making money.
People, a lot of friends.
I hate these fucking mid-roll ads now.
I was targeted with
He was targeted.
Trump was, except
He was targeted because his past came out to bite him in the ass, and then he tried to sue the newspaper.
I guess it was pretty much the same, actually. So I don't just look at how it's been for me. When I was typing that date just a few moments ago, I started, and that's why I was just staring there at the beginning when I turned the camera on. I started to think about how the past 4 years have been for everyone. You guys, the people that are watching me right now, the many millions that are out there, have stuck with me through everything. Everything. Every single live stream that I did, you either saw it live or watched it after. And I know just from meeting a lot of you at the events that we've had and private messages that reflecting on your past 4 years has been brutal, to say the very least. The hope that something is just about to happen, right? Have I been a purveyor of hope for 4 years?
Of hopium, basically bullshit. Like, don't worry, it's all going on behind the scenes, but you'll see it any day now. The Supreme Court overturned the election. As soon as the justices are safe, Trump will be put back in the White House.
Probably.
That was 2 years ago, guys.
I bet that some things that I've said have really got you through a bad day or a bad week or a bad year, maybe. Am I proud of that?
Even Nick Fuentes is not voting Trump.
Anonymous gifted Cloudicy a subscription. An anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to Cloudicy.
Thank you very much for the gifted sub. Guys, if you want to support the stream, do it at coldbeer.fund. That supports the show, the stream, and us rebuilding our fucking home after the flood.
In high school, I was different.
Thank you for the bits. 100 bits from Cloudacy. Thank you.
At the time,
I'm not listening to the whole I was CIA story again.
what was
I'm just not doing it.
about me versus the other kids my age or anywhere near my age, really. Looking back on it now, I do know it was my competitiveness. I didn't necessarily want to be the smartest or the most athletic or the most charming or the most anything. I just wanted to beat you. I wanted to get better
He talks about being a bully, then almost immediately says, like, I wasn't a bully.
grades than you. I wanted to be better in sports. I wanted my teams to win more than your teams did. I just hated.
By the way, he was kind of a loser in school, and a lot of people picked on him. So at least that's what everybody who went to school with him says. I wonder who owns and controls his classmates.com account.
Losing. Hated it. Still do. You don't want to play me in anything. You really don't, because it's just like a different side of me that comes out, and it's just, you don't want to be anywhere near that person because it's brutal to be. So I was different, and back then I didn't know what that was. Now I know what it was. After all these years of being that way, I pushed.
It was being born a secret spy guy, a secret squirrel.
I think I realized what it was too late in some ways. But that characteristic.
Yeah, who would have thought that Nick Fuentes would wake up to the cult mentality before all these other people did?
That I had, which I didn't know what it was, is what led me to be recruited as a private contractor.
By the way, he doesn't even understand the basic premise of this. So, like, he says stuff like, I went to the farm to train for the CIA at Langley. The farm is not at Langley. The farm is part of a military base. It's like 200 miles away from Langley, okay? Or he says, like, I was recruited by the CIA to be a contractor. Then you weren't recruited, but the contractor and actual secret squirrel fucking CIA agents are two separate entities, right? Yeah, I was a contractor. I was a government contractor, right? That I wasn't fucking working for the CIA. I wasn't a fucking CIA agent or NSA agent.
And then people say, how do they recruit? You know, you can't just apply. You know, I mean,
You absolutely can apply, by the way.
for years.
The farm is actually at Camp Perry, if you don't know. It's nowhere near Langley. Langley is their headquarters. That's near D.C.
My parents didn't know.
His own parents didn't know. A 16-year-old recruited by the CIA and his parents didn't know. The only reason he now says his parents didn't know, before they knew, right? But now they didn't know because they had to testify in court that they didn't know.
For years, my parents didn't know. I bombed the interview. I mean, I did. It was the most ridiculous interview I've ever done.
Camp Perry is near Williamsburg.
I was cocky. I was brash. I felt like he was looking down on me and had already decided that I wasn't.
Your fucking 15, 16-year-old son goes to CIA summer camp for months out of the year, misses school, months and months at a time, and you're like, oh, well, whatever he's doing, I'm sure he's fine.
I wasn't going to get in. Well, then my competitive side came out and was like, oh yeah, well, you need me, I don't need you. And that was, in retrospect, it's what got me to where I am today and all the things that have happened.
He told the CIA, you need me, I don't need you, CIA.
So
the squirrel is MAGA's George Floyd. So these two OnlyFans models, who are also influencers online, have a squirrel named Peanut and a raccoon illegally that they rescued and raised and put all over social media. Well, people complained because you can't raise, in a lot of states, you can't raise certain animals, like wild animals, as pets, and they were. So their state showed up and confiscated the animals. Then they can't be released, so they had to be put down, right? You can't release an animal that's used to being hand-fed by people when you take it back, so they had to be put down. And now, like, the MAGA people is like, oh, he was on fentanyl. The cop wasn't even on his neck. Black people deserve to die in the streets. Are now like, oh my God, a squirrel. They killed a fucking squirrel. They're like putting them on T-shirts and on fucking "Don't Tread on Me" flags and shit. It's a fucking squirrel and a raccoon.
Well, unbeknownst to me at the time, the recruiter was actually looking for that type of attitude. It wasn't necessarily.
And it's all MAGA people. Like that's their new passion in life, saving the squirrels.
Or any particular skill or any particular knowledge base or grade, or characteristic. But I guess my grades in certain things and testing that I had done beforehand for the interview was suffice enough. And what they were trying to do was invoke a response from me that dealt with my competitive side. I think they were trying to see if I was going to unleash what they had seen in the years prior. Now, keep in mind, I'm just a kid, 18, 19 years old here. And well, it worked. And I was just like, all right, well, fine then. I just bombed it. I bombed the interview. And they gave me the position. And little did I know that was going to be the.
So he did horrible on the interview, told him to fuck off, and they gave him the job as a secret agent.
Point that led me to where I am today. And trust me, I'm getting somewhere with this, and you'll see it as we go on.
He doesn't get anywhere with this.
So I started there, and no one really.
All right, we're skipping all this shit.
Dream career path.
He says he knew ahead of time about 9/11, didn't warn anybody, didn't speak up, didn't say anything, then watched it happen. He overheard it at the cafeteria.
Who would get that wealth?
Originally, his story was he overheard somebody else's parents talking about it that also worked at the CIA. Now his story has changed too. They told us to see if we could keep a secret.
And that's like so illegal. There's been people who are still wealthy today because of what I saw 20 some years ago. And they're still sitting on billions of dollars. Or they took the millions of dollars that they made and parlayed it into billions of dollars. And I sat by and I watched that. That's the type of thing that, like, when I say you're hurting people, like you're making people lose money because the government wants
stock market's manipulated. He learned in the CIA that the stock market's manipulated.
Is that something?
16, 15 at the first, but yeah.
Egregious.
It's weird that the CIA, his whole young adult life, he worked for the CIA and NSA. So presumably, all of his background in that time is made up, right? Because he was working for the CIA and the NSA, so they had to make him a background. It's weird that they put having sex with a 15-year-old in his made-up background. Is that not strange? Like, you think they would just make him like an accountant, a guy who's like mild-mannered, has no history, no tickets, no nothing. They're like, no, we're going to form you a background story, and we're going to have you fuck a 15-year-old as a high school baseball coach. And you just blend in, bro.
Just crimes.
Watch this before drinking plant-based.
God damn. This thing's riddled with ads.
Almost
against our own people in the form of manipulation from stock market to company valuation and everything else. And it just
So what's my cover story? You're a baseball coach who fucks high school freshmen. Whoa. I get it. You just want me to blend in.
was already kind of like, what is going on? And I just leapfrogged.
And you bounce $20,000 checks and manipulate their bank records to pretend like you have money. What do you think about that?
Now, not only are people being put in a situation that they shouldn't be in, whether it's being enriched by the government or getting just trounced on financially forever. And I'm talking about like...
Phil's supposed to be the world's top secret agent, can't even legally own a firearm.
If there was a company that was an up-and-coming type company that had a good technology or had a good idea, they would just literally destroy another situation from occurring. So I spent...
Oh, my God. Every time I jump forward, this is crazy.
A lot of effort on that, and so much so that I can't.
Yeah, at one point he talks about owning restaurants, all the businesses he had. He was super successful businessman before all this happened because he's so competitive. His mom owned a Subway where he made sandwiches when he couldn't make enough selling real estate.
And then I realized that my efforts and my expertise or my skills, whatever you want to call it, were being used for the same things. I was lost. I knew I was dead. I knew I was going to die. Because there's no way that anything in my soul could be part of that. I don't, keep in mind, I'm young. I'm still in my 20s, right? I don't have kids. I'm not married. I just figured this is how it ends, is the hill that I die on right here, because they're not going to let me go, and they're going to keep the things that I...
So in his 20s, he got out of the CIA and started working for the NSA.
To use on Americans, against Americans, in cooperation with the other agency. Like hand and foot. Lockstep. I just thought that was it. I'm going to say something. I don't know who's going to hear it, but I'm going to say something. I'm not going to idly sit by. And my friend came back to me. And I explained to him, and we developed it. He developed a plan. Let me tell you this. From what I've seen and what I've experienced over the last 20, 25 years of my life, I can honestly tell you that some people that you see with your own eyes, but you've never met, people that you see on TV, people that you're aware of in the media, people that...
Phil doesn't even know how to fake a call log. Phil's so fucking stupid. So he says, this is the type of post that makes me sick to my... So he shares a post from Trump Jr., and it says, win, lose, or fraud, everyone needs to be all in for the next 3 days. Get out and vote. Make it too big to rig. Make your voice heard and end the insanity of the radical leftism now. Then he says, this is the type of post that makes me sick to my stomach. It also makes everything that I've known for a fact in the past 4 years become immediately questionable. Don, you cannot outvote the rig if the rig is an algorithm. On one hand, this quote makes me want to vomit. On the other hand, I seriously cannot believe that the Trump camp, and specifically Trump's own son, can possibly be this stupid. Yeah, I'll be live tonight, but you aren't going to like what I have to say. It's going to be very raw, very emotional, and very honest. 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, Phil is a narcissist. He can't have real emotions. That's why none of them come across as genuine. They're always like a little off, a little odd, a little strange. He can't exhibit actual human emotions. He shows what he thinks human emotions look like. So they're very weird. So then he shares this and says, great, now I'm in trouble. The problem is, it says Donald J. Trump, Kerry Godlewski, Donald J. Trump, Todd Collins, potential spam, Avocado Novak, Kerry Godlewski, Preston Godlewski, Dory, 3 times for FaceTime videos, Preston Godlewski. Now, the problem with this is he put Trump's name in the wrong spot. If this was caller ID or he had this contact saved, it wouldn't have a number. It would say Donald Trump, like Kerry Godlewski, like Todd Collins, like Avocado Novak, like Carrie Godlewski, like Carrie Godlewski, like Preston Godlewski, like Dory, like Preston Godlewski, right? He saved it where you would save, is this a mobile number? Is this a home number? So if you go on your phone and hit add a contact, I'll do it on my phone. If you go on a phone and hit your dial pad, hit contacts, add a contacts, it asks you for name and then phone. And then when you type in a number, it'll say like mobile, home, work, main, work fax, home fax, pager, other. If you click the other, if you click below other, it says custom. You can add whatever you want, right? All he did was add Donald J. Trump as a guest. Not to mention, he missed the call and didn't call them back. This is a missed call from a 919 number in North Carolina. And he accidentally saved, all he had to do was save this number as Donald J. Trump. But he's so fucking stupid, he saved it as the type of phone they use. Home, fax, office, spam. All he had to do was save this number as Donald J. Trump. But instead, he went below the number where it's type of phone, right? Is this their cell, their pager, their fax, their what? And he typed in the custom slot, he typed in Donald J. Trump. Why would none of the other calls appear that way? So that we got home, FaceTime video, FaceTime. We got spam, we got home. You'll also see stuff like cell 2, work, fax 1, fax 2, other, business, shit like that, right? That you can select. He saved it in the wrong spot. He's an idiot. Edward Snowden, everybody. Then he says, lots of intel on tonight's live. If I get in trouble, fuck it. I don't care if Trump calls me from a phone that I've assigned to him as his not work, not cell, not fax, as him.
I have a whole history.
There's actually not any way other than Phil going in there and typing that in that could change. You had to go to the custom box and change it. And the only person who could do that was a person with Phil's phone. It's not like the president can type in, like, I want this to appear instead of work phone, I want this to appear as Donald J. Trump. You can't even do that to someone else's phone. That's all on your side. Fucking idiot, dude.
Behind them, a whole life and a genealogy where you could trace back who their relatives were and where they went to school and all of this stuff. People that you actually know of, not people that you know personally. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that you've probably never met, and if you did, it was at an event or a book signing or a rally or whatever. There are people out there that you think are this person that did these things, and that's not true. It's just all an invented story to protect someone else who did do those things, but didn't necessarily do those things the way that they're being described. They did something nasty or something really good that they don't want to give that person credit for. So there are
another ad coming. I might have to get ad blocker just for Rumble. Oh, can you guys hear that? I just heard it. My mic feedback. I guess it's for my vape. Hold on.
So I would just go back to my original name.
You guys hear that?
There'd be a gap, but we'd fill in the gap with where you were supposed to be. You're at this university, or you were studying here for this, and here's your transcripts too, by the way. And oh, look, the dean signed up.
Okay, so they're filling in his background for university, and the dean signed off. By the way, Phil claims he has multiple college degrees. When he had to go testify in court, he couldn't produce any of them, and finally had to admit he has no college degrees and hardly any college credits.
Yes, you guys know what that alias is. There's a group on Telegram. So I would just go back to my original name, and there'd be a gap.
Yeah, Piehole's good.
With where you were supposed to be. You're at this university, or you were studying here for this, and here's your transcripts too, by the way. And oh, look, the dean signed up. Holy moly. Like, the world is not real. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, the world's not real. I don't even know. Like, I know of some, but if I know of those some, let's say I know of 50 or 100 people who are not really real. I mean, the person that you see is a walking human being most of the time, but it's not, everything that they've ever done is not, that's not true. It's not them. Someone else did it. You could be having coffee with the guy at the diner that actually did those things and you wouldn't even know. It's bizarre. So we did it, and it worked. Boom, all this hits the news, and this guy's a whistleblower, and this guy did this, and Obama's saying this about him, and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there like, Like, I thought I was dead. I thought, well, this clearly isn't gonna work. But I didn't have an option anyway. You know, it was either try it and hopefully it works, or don't try it and you're dead. So I'm sitting there watching all this go down, and I'm like, people are like now he's in Hong Kong, and now he's defecting to Russia. And am I out?
By the way, Phil's openly just came out and accused himself of being fucking Edward Snowden, the Edward Snowden that the story's about. People in his chat were like, I always knew it. As soon as I started watching, I knew it. Like, yeah, he said it. Obviously, you would fucking know it. You would think.
You know, when you were a kid, maybe you're not a kid, because if you're not like me, you still do this, and I still do it. I did the other day, my kid in the yard, actually. A plane would be flying by, right? And it just happened that me and my son were out in the yard playing catch. Baseball, he's getting good now. He's really.
He's not good with stories. He's not good with analogies. Suppose I have a watermelon, Tim.
I think some of you guys know that.
This whole story is, I threw a baseball at an airplane and pretended like I could hit it, and my kid panicked. But when you're a kid, you think that you can really hit a airplane with a baseball.
So we were playing catch, and a plane, we had a little airplane, like, no, it was destined to not hit it. It was destined to fail. For all you people who are like, what is he talking about? Well, I'm going somewhere with this. You're going to have to play my game tonight. Sorry. This is the game I want to play. It's the way I want to play.
Everybody was complaining, saying, just fucking tell us. What is this? What's going on? Because they knew it was up, right? The jig is up. The one thing that he stood firm on is that there can't be a 2024, a Trump 2020, unless they fix 2020. There won't be an election. The Supreme Court overturn. How does the Supreme Court overturn the previous election, but we're going into another one tomorrow?
Listen or not, I don't really care. But I'm going to do it my way tonight. No sponsors, no shout outs to where you're from. Just sit there and listen. If you don't want to do it, leave. So the story comes out, and I'm flabbergasted that this is actually working. And then, weeks go by and months go by, and no one is questioning me. No one's knocking. No one's calling. I slip back into the real world, so to speak. I find a girl who I eventually married. I just lived a normal life.
What happened to that girl when you were engaged with her?
Extracted from a situation, and
didn't something else happen with a 15-year-old?
Everything that I had done was attributed to another. The whole person was just written into history. It never existed. So, fast forward a bunch of years. Just living life. No. All I did was teach them to be more careful.
Jesus Christ. Who paid for this many ad spots?
What's another story, right? You all heard about what he did? Did anything change after that? For the better? They doubled down. They doubled down on their security. It was on no one's radar.
So even after Edward Snowden came out and said everything, nothing changed. It did drastically. Is it perfect? No. Did it change? Yeah, absolutely.
So I started 2 projects. Again, not nearly enough. It just wasn't enough. Nothing was ever enough.
Never enough.
It was ever enough. I could never get rid of that feeling.
This is why, okay, I'm going to slow it down to normal speed right here. And you tell me that this is genuine human emotion. This is like a soap opera if it was put on by a middle school drama class. It was never enough. Never enough. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Watch.
Again, not nearly enough. It just wasn't enough. Nothing was ever enough. Nothing was ever enough. I could never get rid of that feeling.
That's why it feels weird when he has when he shows emotion on stream. Because none of it's real. He doesn't know how to make it feel real because it's not real, right? He's thinking, what would somebody in this story I just made up, how would they feel? It was never enough. Check the camera, check the chat, check the camera. Never enough.
Years went by. I could never get rid of that feeling. I just felt like I felt so used and so responsible. I felt so responsible.
I think Ezra Cohen Watnick had his way with him. I think Phil is no longer a butthole virgin, and he just couldn't wash it away. He's crying in the shower in the fetal position at CIA summer camp. Ezra Cohen Watnick told him it was going to be this cool handshake. Turns out it was just a hand job.
No matter what I did. So I was in a rough place. Mentally I was in a really rough place, and I tried to get on with my life. And I got a call from my friend. Stayed in touch over the years. He rose. He got so high in government. And he knew about my little projects, and shielded me in a way he shielded me from any exposure that may have linked anything to me that were, that wasn't gonna be good exposure. He had a lot of power in the position that he had. I'm grateful, I'm here because of him. So I get a call, and I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, we got them. My first words were, what do you mean we? See, I'm out, right? And he just repeated himself, we got them.
You know, only 19 million people tuned in to news agencies within 2 hours of Trump being shot. And Phil claims he has 49 people watching him randomly on a Monday night?
He said we need to meet. And we met. And so was the day. The plan, the structure of the Great Awakening movement had begun. There was no one. Well, let me go back. They needed a way to, and this is going to bring us up to current day, which I'm sure you're all excited about. We're going to talk about the election, by the way. By the way, this is all leading to the election talk. So this is going to be a little bit longer of a live than normal, but if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, there's a little text right there in the corner. Just click it. They needed.
This is disingenuous at best. He knows he's got him on the hook, right? No one's going to leave because they think he has this secret information. It could be life-altering for he doesn't. None of that's true. But he spent the last 4 years convincing them of that. Like something he might say might be a clue, or he might outright just say this and it'll change their life, or they might not want to go somewhere, do something because they'll be killed by terrorists pretending to be Democrats or whatever.
They couldn't get the word out. If you have been watching this entire life and you go back to the things that I said in the beginning about how badly manipulated the people were of the United States and the world for that matter in many different facets, and then you go to 9/11 and everything that occurred there and thereafter even, what they had been doing in the years to follow was so much worse. And I had no idea. But they had risen so far into different levels of government that they were never in before, and different levels of major corporations and government agencies that they were never even in before. They were in a lot before, but it just got so high level that the things that had happened after I was out were just, you don't even know about most of them. You guys and myself scream for military tribunals, right? Hold these people responsible.
Yeah,
you have no idea. You don't have the slightest clue about how bad things have become. And I'm not even talking about the current day. I'm talking about like back, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Things that you don't even know of. They, and this is the first time that I guess the term white hats could probably be used. They had no way of letting anyone know. Short of a government coup, which almost happened, by the way. I'll just fast forward a little bit. 2012, Barack Obama was almost forcefully removed from the presidency by the military.
Mm-hmm. So close.
A lot of these were suspended, probably big time civil war, death, a lot of death. How death? Because there were certain parts of the military that were going to side with Obama, and of course, Obama, which we know now is one of the cabal heads, would have brought.
Jesus Christ! Some more ads. Get an ad blocker before we do this again.
The military from around the world would came in and attacked the United States. So we're talking about like civilian loss and kids burning on the street and bad. And I don't think I could ever put into words how close they were to forcefully removing Barack Obama from office, very publicly.
So close.
No negotiations, just go, get him. We'll deal with the rest. I mean, we are literally talking about, we were so close that all someone had to do was utter a word. And everything was in place to do it. Not utter a word and then set it up to do it. Utter a word and then it's done within minutes. You have no idea what 2012 was almost. The question I have is, well, would we be better off today in 2024 if they did that? I don't know.
They an update for the people who care about my living situation. They did tell us that bids had been submitted, and I guess they had accepted one to rebuild the road, but they're not even planning on starting for like 3 months. So we'll see.
I don't know. Maybe not. Can you imagine? The cabal at that time really had a stronghold on military across the world. Not only a good majority of the military within the United States, but worldwide. So I think it would have been not only the start of a civil war, but like you would have saw the United States military fighting the United States military within our country. So like the Air Force bombing the Army and certain areas of the Army, and like the Navy fighting amongst each other. You had to choose, and you weren't going to be told the truth because the truth was compartmentalized on a need-to-know basis. So if you were a soldier, you were just listening to orders, and if you didn't listen to orders, you just would have been killed. That's how close we were. And the problem was that they couldn't tell anyone about what was happening. They couldn't give anyone a reason why Barack Barack Obama should have been removed from office by the military. No one was going to broadcast that. Nobody. You wouldn't have heard a good reason on your news. You wouldn't have read a good reason in the newspaper. Streaming back then, yeah, it was getting popular, nothing like it is today, but that would have been censored or controlled. They had a grip on everything. I'm telling you, they still do, in a sense. But and we saw a lot of that. 2020, right? How many accounts got deleted on social media platforms? Why? Because we don't believe in a certain thing that you're trying to push us. Well, back in 2012, it was way worse. So you wouldn't have heard the truth about anything. You would have heard that there was an assassination attempt on on Obama by.
If he was smart about it, he wouldn't have done all the bragging. That turns a lot of his followers off. Like the bragging, the showcasing his cars and his homes and how much money he makes and how he doesn't need you and you can go right now. Like
a rogue area of the military. That's what you would have heard. You wouldn't have heard what Obama did. No. So they needed a way to alert people, just like normal people. There's everyday people that do watch news and do read the newspapers and are online. They need a way to tell people. But it wasn't going to be, okay, well, we need a way to tell people about how we're going to forcefully remove the president of the United States. No. It was... Quick pause, guys.
Talking to his kids.
What?
Yeah, and he makes up stuff. Like, there's some people that are deluded. Like, they've just watched so much of this Trump-centered alt media stuff. Thank you, Desert Doxies. 5 6-packs. Long time coming. Hope this helps. Thank you. We'll use it to rebuild something, I guess. I just realized how many I've lost 20 years worth of fucking tools I've collected. We're all down in the garage. So hopefully I don't have to go back out on the road. Sorry. Listen faster, Shirley. Anyways, there's some people that are deluded with this like all weird, all Q adjacent media, and they just believe it and they repeat what they believe. But they don't make up their own fake fucking backgrounds, right? Like someone who is just consumed like the Q boards and Q media and just is repeating it because they looked it up and want to make their own show. That's one thing. They don't pretend like they were a secret agent when they weren't in the background. You know what I mean?
Here's me. You wanted to show me his boo-boo, isn't he? Look. Oh, Anyway, so they need a way to get this information out there. And I'm not talking about like they're about to announce a coup on the sitting president of the United States, so they want me to broadcast it. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about a long plan to fundamentally disable the cabal. And at this point, I was informed as to how bad things have gotten.
I'm not listening to this slow talking, fake crying motherfucker on normal speed. Sorry.
And to what level things were at, and exactly what and why people needed to know what they wanted people to know. Great questions in the chat. Refresh my memory. Why was Obama almost taken out? Well, that's for another day. We got an election tomorrow. And I promise you, I'm not just telling the story because I'm trying to subvert what's happening with the election or draw attention away from it. Actually, quite the contrary, which we're going to talk about. Tonight's show is going to be about the election, but I need you to know how I got here. And you will sit there and listen to it. And if you don't want to do that, that is your choice. But I'm not just going to say a couple words and be like, oh, here's the intel. That's not tonight. It's been 4 years.
Now we have to eat crow with all the people who put their faith in us.
They had a parallel force of patriots working within the same corrupt organizations and agencies that the corruption within those agencies
Damn, is another ad?
they didn't know
Jesus.
that this parallel force of patriots were actually operating there. So the leaders of these organizations, John Brennan.
He claims he lost his Harvard diploma when he moves. So first of all, the court asked him to produce this Harvard diploma he had always hanging in the background. He said it was real. He got a Harvard diploma, and then he changed it to a certificate, and it was all real. But then he lost it in the move. He would not show up to court with it. And then finally had to admit that he thinks he was scammed. But Harvard has no record of him attending any certificate class, sitting in on one fucking lecture. So he had to admit that he may have been scammed through an email, and he just thought he was going to Harvard and taking a class, and he really wasn't. What actually happened is he just printed it off and put his name on it.
You son of a bitch. And others had no idea that this group was simultaneously operating underneath their noses. And not only that, but collecting information and attempting to undo a lot of things that the cabal was trying to do since they were in control of these organizations and these agencies and government. They had no idea. And they did it for a long time. How long, I really don't know, but a long time, long enough to get everything that they've needed to finally take down this corrupt organization that had spread like cancer, like plague across the world.
That's right. Listen to Phil too long at normal speed, you'll uninstall a Life app.
Not only within the United States government, but to other governments, the highest level of other governments. But that wasn't enough. Why wasn't it enough? You think, okay, well, if they have all that stuff on these really bad people, well then Reveal it. Reveal it to the public. How would they reveal it to the public? For the same reason that they didn't take out Obama in 2012 via military operation coup. They couldn't reveal what they had because no one would reveal it. I would. He knew it. He knew I would. He knew it. He knew I was the opportunity to do this. He knew I had the competitive fuckery within me. He knew that my blood was still boiling, that I was determined, like almost like it was my sole purpose on this earth to, he knew, he was right. He knew that I had the motivation, the motive. He knew that I had the ability. He knew that I had the charisma. He knew that I had the charm. He knew that I had the staying power. He knew that I was the person to start it. From a technology point of view to a leadership point of view, look, you can hate me all you want, right? But I sit here right now with millions of people watching me. And even though so many people have tried to tell you so many bad things about me, some true, some half true, some just complete lies, you still sit here watching me. He knew it. He knew something that I didn't even know about myself, that I could completely change.
By the way, he's making up, not only is he making his own backstory, he's making up other people that have no affiliation with him at all, Ezra Cohen Watnick, into his backstory and making up thoughts for them. Like he's got his whole little world is made up.
My life path from being a
if he wasn't so wealthy, I mean, it's a sad life, but he's able to go out and flaunt money and buy everything and blow it, and he'll be broke in a few years.
Well-respected, top-of-the-world businessman, because that's what I was. A lot of people say, well, you were a realtor, right?
A businessman. By the way, his mom and uncle owned a gas station that had a Subway attached to it. Phil, all he ever did was real estate, right? And he branched that out. So he tried to teach people real estate. He tried to open a small title company. But this hundreds of employees is an absolute lie.
Yeah, I sold houses, but I also had hundreds of employees over the course of years through many businesses that I had. And those businesses thrived. And again, going back to the competitive nature that just exists, that fire that exists inside of me, it translated into the business world where I just wanted to destroy anything that was in my path for the sake of winning. Coming out on top, the top this, the top that, the top realtor, top broker, top mortgage guy, top title guy, top school educator, the top, restaurateur, everything I've ever had.
Top restaurateur because his mom owned a Subway and sometimes he was a sandwich artist there. Top restaurateur. He's basically Gordon Ramsay, okay? With one of those green-handled, blunt-tipped knives they use at Subway.
I had to be number one, just had to be. And if it wasn't, I was failing.
How many times do you think Gordon Ramsay has said, baked or toasted?
They needed someone like that.
What kind of cheese?
There were a lot of choices. But how many of those choices, even if they had a similar set of skills, even if they had the ability to do what I did over the last 10 years, I guess that's about when I started, who had the motivation, the desire, and the ambition to see it all the way through? No matter how hard it got, no matter how much the person that they picked disagreed with what they were doing, who had the ability to push on, to strive through, to get on course, stay on course, and the millions of people.
So someone explained to me, short of that he didn't cause himself, because his name's been dragged through the mud, but he did that, right? The newspaper wrote an article about him that was true, and he tried to sue them and caused all of this other stuff to come out. Then he tried to sue the victim, which caused even more stuff to come out. The judge wasn't having it. The victim wasn't having it. Nobody, short of his own actions, he keeps talking about all the suffering he did. How? Why? What suffering? His grandparents died. That's sad. If people die, I'm sorry. That's about it. His wife left him because she thought this Q stuff was crazy. She didn't think she should be lying to people, and she was scared that they would come after him or their family. So that was a thing. His company fired him because he bounced that check, forged bank records, and went to jail. So short of his own doing, well, what suffering has he had? He makes himself out to be a martyr. Where?
People that I ended up attracting over the years. Hundreds of millions, if you count worldwide, and if you count the entire Q movement. That all started with one person. It wasn't tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people hired for a job on the chans, on 4chan or on 8chan. It started with one person making one post. That's some help with distribution. I couldn't distribute 4chan, 8chan across as many people that were catching on to it, but the message was clear. The attention grabbing.
Yeah, you can. You just post on 4chan, and if it takes off, people just see it and read it and comment. Like, you don't need distribution.
Message was very clear. In fact, that very first Q post.
In fact, limiting distribution was what made the Q post so alluring to people, right? Because there was a trip code, that meant it was the same person posting every time. Other people would try to get on there and put Q level patriot or Q or whatever, but because they didn't have the same trip code, people were like, "You're not the real one." You bullshit. Those posts didn't take off. But you ought to hear Phil try to explain a trip code.
The people had to know, and there was no way to tell the people, so we had to create a way. We did.
A trip code is basically like a password for anonymous sites, because with an anonymous site, all of us right now could all go there and have our username as Q. And the only way to know that or we could all go as CBC. Wee bit of money from Belfast. Thank you very much. From Thomas Mullen. Thank you for the donation. We could all go as me, Cold Beer Will from Cold Beer Confessional. And the only way to really know it was me is if I had posted before and you had seen me before, I would have the same trip code each time. And what that is like a password you put in, then it's randomized through what they call like the salt, through the salt. It's like an algorithm that randomizes. So let's say my password is bananas. It'll end up coming out like X, exclamation point, uppercase Y, 3, 7, like a string of characters. And randomized. You couldn't put that in unless you knew my password. So the only way to know it's me versus all 180 of you guys, all named Will from CBC, is that I have the same trip code each time. Now, they ended up even fucking that up over on 8kun, but that's a different story. Phil, when I asked him what a trip code was, he said, it's like two-factor authentication on your phone. I was like, no, that's not it. He's like, well, they just logged me into the Q account when I wanted to. I just called them and told them they logged me in. How is that? How is that protecting, right, and making sure it's the right person you're talking to? It could be anybody then.
And look at where we are now. Fast forward from where we were in 2012 when there was also almost a civil war, maybe World War III for that matter, over. And it would have been painted under false pretenses. They would have said, oh, well, this is, no, it would have just been World War III and it would have been blamed on some schmuck, that, oh, this guy did this and now there's a war. No, someone would have went down for it. It would have been Obama. And there would have been millions dead, millions and millions and millions dead. So we sat and a lot of planning. So much planning. And we started.
I don't have an Amazon wish list. If I end up having to go back on the road because I don't have a job and shit, I am going to need a shit ton of tools. I don't know what I'll do, but right now I've just been trying to get what I can. I'm hoping my unemployment finally kicks in. I qualify for it, but there's like a clerical error that's keeping me from getting it right now. So we'll see what happens.
Post on a forum and it spread like wildfire. I didn't spread it. I had nothing to do with that. They did. The White House did. It grew organically.
So the reason that 8kun manipulated, here, I can show you quickly. So let's open up Paint. The reason that 8kun lost people that were following Q, the Q movement, is because of his trip code. So what happened was, let's pretend, again, his password is, let's pretend that the password was password, okay? His password, or his trip code, was password. And that went through an algorithm that changed it to numerical digits. So let's say it made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, the thing that did this is called the salt. So every time he typed in the word password, it made his trip code into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8kun one day made a big announcement that they were going to do something called roll the salt. What is rolling the salt? Basically, because this password encryption method is based on an algorithm, if you leave it the same for too long, people can go back and figure out what it is. So like if you wanted to break this, if you want to brute force break this, what you would try is a ton of different passwords, And you would notice that, oh, if I use a capital P, I get this 1, right? And then if I use a capital P, then a lowercase a, I get 1, 2. So you could basically go back and reverse engineer what someone's password was, what their trip code was, right? So when they roll the salt, they change the algorithm. So when they rolled the salt, let's say that then password, when you put this in as your trip code, what come out on the other end that everybody else sees was actually 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. This is way oversimplified. 3, 2, 1. But let's say we rolled the salt, so we changed the algorithm. When you type in your password, it used to show your trip code as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you type in your trip code, it showed your trip code as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, because we rolled the salt, because we changed the algorithm that did this, right? When you type in password, it should say 8765431 as your trip code. But Q's didn't change. Everybody else's trip code on the platform changed when they rolled the salt. When they changed the algorithm, everybody's password on the entire platform changed, except for the person who was posting as Q. So what does that tell us? That Q's trip code had nothing to do with the salt at all. They were manually giving this person a trip code. And if they're manually giving the person who they claim they don't know, an anonymous poster named Q or Q level patriot, if they claim they don't know him, they don't have interaction, it's not them, they couldn't manually assign this trip code to anybody. So if one day it was the actual Q guy and the next day it was Ron Watkins wanted to post some shit, he could just manually assign his own trip code. So they weren't even holding the algorithm standard. And when this came out, it was like huge. People were like, fuck you. The line's no longer secure. We don't know who we've been talking to. It could have been anybody. And they were just assigning this password to them every time. And we thought we were validating it, but it wasn't. So 8kun kind of fucked all that up.
And it spread like wildfire. We have anons in 50 plus countries. We have patriots that didn't even know they were.
Jesus Christ. Patriots that didn't know they were in a cult?
Patriots. They were bystanders, watching the evil go by. In many cases, not even knowing that there was evil. Now those people are standing up and they're proud patriots. And if you call somebody a conspiracy theorist, you remember what conspiracy theorists used to mean? Oh, that guy's nuts. That's what it used to mean, right? Now you're a conspiracy theorist and people think that you're onto something, right?
Ooh, the best beer. I don't know. I drink High Life.
We've completely changed the way that the world thinks. And I'm not just saying me in the White Hats. I'm saying you. Even if you weren't responsible for anyone changing the way that they think, you have changed the way that you think. And you should be extraordinarily proud of that. We made a dent. And we didn't only make a dent. We made a huge gouge in the side of the structure of the ball. And it's been leaking ever since. Over the last 10 years, since this all started, it's been leaking and leaking and leaking. And there were various attempts to patch it up, of course. But the world has woken up. The world now sees what they've been trying to do. And now what's happening even more than I've ever seen, even in the last few years. What I've seen happen in 2024 is that people are not just looking at the bad guys who are currently doing the bad things. We're looking back now. We're going back into our past, not only our recent past, like years, but we're looking back some decades and be like, yeah, wait a minute. We're awake. We are awake. And I did a live on gaslighting a couple weeks ago. And I told you that people are being fed such a bunch of malarkey that it's almost unbelievable. But listen, they're desperate. They're desperate. They don't know what else to do. They don't have any other option. They have not even told you what's really happening with this election. The media, I'm talking about the media. The media will force you to believe that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are in a neck-and-neck fight for the presidency. And Kamala's winning in 4 out of 6 swing states and da-da-da-da-da-da. They're not telling the actual stuff.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Of course not, right? And you're like, why aren't the White Hats telling us? That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Because if the White Hats announce their plan publicly, their plan may not work. That's why.
But Phil comes on here, used to, multiple times a week and announce their plan publicly.
That's why we refer to everything as a movie over the last.
Because they've already taken everything over, right? They controlled the media. They controlled this. They controlled that. They were just mopping up. Everybody was almost taken care of. It was over with. Remember?
However many years. Last night.
Oh, no. It looks like Bree is looking for a partial motion for summary judgment because Phil has already admitted guilt. And basically, like the way the case was settled at the Scranton Times, that he already admitted guilt based on what was contained in the criminal information, that he can no longer say that those things didn't happen.
No, not just last night. Over the last several nights, dating back to last week. Here I am trying to watch the World Series and watch my team win, right? And I'm dealing with this. I became very inquisitive.
They even quote Judge Nealon's opinion.
Because I was told to come on.
Oh, he's about to lose the Bree case, too, on the collateral estoppel. Oh, no. No wonder he's fucking doing this shit.
Forcefully? Yeah, not forcefully like that, but because of reasons, Kamala was going to drop out.
Therefore, Mr. Godlewski, as party bearing the burden of proof as to his claims, cannot produce any evidence of defamation or invasion of privacy where he is collaterally estopped from denying his participation in the sexual relationship with Bree. Damn. Likewise, for this very issue, there's no genuine issue of material fact as to Bree's defense to Mr. Godlewski's claims. Finding in the same rationale, there is no genuine issue of material fact as to Bree's claims set forth in her counterclaim for defamation, false lie, assault, and battery. Because of this and the reasons to be stated in Bree's brief in support of her motion, she is entitled to a summary judgment. As this court is well aware, Pennsylvania Rules of Civil Procedure 103.5.2 provides as following. As the relevant pleadings are closed, but within such times as not unreasonably delay trial, any party may move to summary judgment in whole or in part as a matter of law. Mr. Godlewski not only cannot prove his claims, he is collaterally estopped from making them warranting the entry of summary judgment in favor of Miss DeBurgle. Damn, Phil. You're about to lose this one based on that one? Oof. Oof.
That's what I was told. And way before that, I was told that there was going to be EBS. Who do you think has the ability to enact EBS across the world? You could count on one finger. Who could do that?
Nobody. Right. All the EBS systems that are in multiple first world countries are separated, right? Nobody can do it across the world. Right? You'd have to get permission from these other countries. We're not just going to make a broadcast that's going to take over the French fucking TVs. Right? That's our thing. By the way, his followers are now convinced that the EBS has nothing to do with our country anymore, and it's the Elon broadcast system. And he can use his Starlink satellites to broadcast on every device in the world.
So I was told that there was going to be EBS, so that there was going to be martial law, limited martial law in certain areas. And I said those words through my mouth onto that camera, and you heard them with your ears. And all of my shows are all recorded, and they're all on my channel. So anybody can go back and be like, he said Trump was going to be in office by December. He said Trump was going to be in office by April. He said Trump was going to be in office. He said Trump was going to be in office. He said they're going to be EBS. He said, here's the date, here's the timestamp, here's the video, here's the link. I'm going to put it on my channel, make fun of him. Ha, ha, ha. Now, I somewhat understand how plans change. I get that. It's been the case for 4 years. So even though you planned something at this particular time and you wanted it to go down, but certain events didn't take place, so it didn't go down that way. And because it didn't go down that way at that particular time or before a particular time, you now have to edit the plan into something else for the ultimate goal to still be achieved. I get it. Is it annoying as hell? Yeah. I get it. And I think by now all of us get it too. But I'll tell you what, the final straw was when I'm told that I could report that Kamala Harris is going to drop out of the election, and the Tuesday election on November 5th was just going to be practically an unopposed election in a sense because there's no real candidate on that ticket. And
right. He said last week there would be, or a week before last, there would be an election, but Donald Trump would be the only person you could vote for. It was either don't vote or vote for Donald Trump. That nobody was going to replace her on the ticket. It was just going to be unopposed.
they're not going to be able to have enough time, is what I was told, that they're not going to have enough time to get a new candidate on the ticket. So, and they're not going to postpone the election. There's going to be a mini fight in the courts and whatever. So, come Friday of this past week, I'm looking at the calendar and I know how much time it would take to do what needed to be done for the EBS. And I'm thinking, well, in what manner would the EBS even go off for? Well, you can't just say, all right, EBS now. Okay, but why? What are you going to put in the message? What are you going to say? That what the election was stolen in 2020? Why are you going to put that out a few days before the election? What's the narrative? What are you actually? You can't just do things just to do them. So that,
by the way, he says this is going to be a real raw live stream with no ads. Guess what ad he drops multiple times? His gold and silver.
And not only it's a Friday, I kind of put Friday as like my date. Like, I need a little time to, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, you have to go to a secure location, you have to use the software, you have to use this device, and you got to blah, 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 you got to blah. There's a lot to do. Travel arrangements, like I do.
Go to a secure location and use this. He's got to go to his basement lair, where where his skiff is located.
For life, I wanted to go to Game 7, which would have been Saturday. What if, something like a week prior, okay, they're going to push this.
He has to have at least by Friday to be done by Tuesday because he's got to go to a skiff.
Games, we're going to go to LA on Saturday. How am I supposed to be in two places?
Or he's making all this up, and that's why none of it happened. I don't understand. The people that support him and a lot of people that support Trump look right past so many times the most logical and easiest answer, right? They would rather believe that Phil is a spy giving them secret information on Rumble while he's just happens to be paid very, very well by all his followers and making him a millionaire. But he's doing this out of the kindness of his own heart, and that Ezra Cohen Watnick is giving him this information to share with them secretly, even though he publicly denies even knowing Phil or having anything to do with him. And that's coming from Trump, the same situation. But the timeline just keeps changing rather than just saying, I think he's making this up.
So I got pissed. And I just feel like all of the good that we've done for the past 10 years, and even more so in the past 4 years since you guys met me, sometime in the last 4 years you guys met me, I feel like all of that.
They've even strengthened her case by saying all the things that Phil lied about her, saying that she was like lying, had lied to police, lied in an affidavit, falsely accused him of this, falsely. They got all that in this filing.
Good that we've done and all the waking up.
There's not a real big need to read it because it's mostly just the order from the Scranton Times case. That's what most of it is. I read the important parts already, but it is good that Bree's lawyer's on top of this.
That we've done and all of the changing of the mindset that we've done across hundreds of millions of people. I'm not just talking my audience. I'm just talking the world. You look now, you talk to people overseas. Carrie and I are in Italy a lot. We're just in France, and you talk to people over there, and they even know about the worldwide corruption. It's not taboo anymore. We did it. We convinced people that there is a big bad enemy in a world government that operates and controls everything and lies about everything. We did that. We did it. And we should be super proud of it. And not just me, everybody, all the people that I didn't get along with for the last 4 years that were fighting for the same viewers and saying bad things about each other. I don't care. They helped too. You may think of certain people as assholes in the way that they speak and you don't want to watch them, fine, but you know what? They have an audience. And that audience doesn't think that those people are assholes. So those people who I may think is an asshole, doesn't matter if I think that. They have their own group and they're doing the same thing. They're spreading the same message. We've succeeded. We woke up the world, right? And what are we going to do now? Are we going to piss it all away because Kamala Harris wins the presidency? No. That doesn't work for me.
Because who wins the presidency? Who wins, Phil? Who do you think is going to win? That you might have to piss this all away? Wow.
All of that exposure that I put myself through, my family through, the relatives that I lost because of COVID, the relatives that you've lost because of COVID, the marriages that were crippled, including my own. Now, yeah, I met somebody else. Great. It's fantastic. I would never trade it. But none of us wanted any of this. We wanted to be patriotic and we wanted to do our civic duty and we wanted it to actually mean something this time, right? They didn't know that the 2020 election was going to be stolen. Maybe they knew, but they didn't prepare for it. They thought that they were going to attempt and they were going to stop it from happening, the transfer to actually take place to them. They fumbled it. They did a terrible job. And no one was more shocked than me because I knew what we had set up in the years prior. We were already waking people up. QAnon was all over the news, and QAnon, and Savannah Guthrie questions Trump on QAnon, and he kind of supports it. Like, we're doing all these great things, and then we lose the White House. Okay, but
if I fuck anybody, it's going to be Dory, so I can be Phil's kid's stepdad.
Pause, because we get pause on the because we have opportunity to not only get the White House back, because that's a certain, but we're also going to take down this group. And not only were we going to do it in Trump's second term, but now we're going to do it behind the scenes, and it's going to get a lot more intense, and we're going to have a lot more of ability to do it because we're operating behind the scenes. That was their MO. Their thing was, well, you know what? Okay, short of a military coup, short of enacting the EBS, and putting all these taped confessions up and doing all this stuff and enacting all of the, or executing all of the indictments, the sealed indictments that were out there, putting all these people out there in the public. Instead of doing that how we were going.
Then we'll be out in the backyard throwing a baseball at airplanes, cutting blue watermelons.
To do it in Trump's second term starting in 2021, fine. Take the White House, but we're going to control that too. And now that we're going to push you, the bad guys, in front of the media and expose all your bullshit to the media, we could actually operate in the background. The White House could get stuff done without any focus on them. And yeah, we'll do dribs and drabs of information through Phil and through.
So it didn't matter that none of this come true because he's going to be working in the background when none of you guys can see it.
Whatever else. I'm not the only one that has intel. I think towards the end there, I was the only one that had any good intel. Everybody else was just reading news reports. But regardless of that, they were going to operate behind the scenes, leak little pieces of information here and there. If things got too tight or they were worried about something, they would leak misinformation, which at the time I didn't even know was misinformation. Looking at it now, I know what all the misinformation was. Why did they give me misinformation? A couple instances I know why they did it, but that could be, I could sit here for 4 hours and talk about that. I'm not going to do it tonight. But some of it was justified, some of it was, my bad taste. Like, you ate that piece of food and it didn't taste good, but you survived. You're not dead. Would you take another bite? Fuck no. Sorry about that, what I don't like is the way that this is going to conclude.
Building Legos. That's
It
it.
could have been so much different. And it could have reinforced all of the things that we worked so hard on over the past 4 years plus. It could have reinforced it to the people. And the psychological element that we placed where it needed to be so that people would wake up, not only within the United States, but worldwide. That narrative of truth that we placed there could have been solidified for generations to come if we had just handled this.
There were so many people in the chat saying, so this is all for nothing. Now we look like idiots. We repeated everything you said. I can't believe I told people there wouldn't be an election. I can't believe I told people it was overturned. I can't believe I told people that Harris was going to drop out and it'd be unopposed. I can't believe. We all look just as dumb as you do. Because he's like, now I look dumb and people are making fun of me. And they're like, yeah, us too. We've lost their fucking marriages and shit over this. There was somebody the other day had a screenshot of like 4 fucking people are talking about getting divorced and they're fucking their husband or wife of so many years leaving them over this.
It's a different freaking way. But when you tell me to broadcast that there won't be an election, I feel like that is...
There's also a claim that Phil has a mod that's homeless and he hasn't helped her or some shit. I don't know what all this about.
Bad thing to tell me to say if there will actually be an election. I got news for you guys. This may surprise you, but there's going to be a freaking election tomorrow. And you have to vote. And let me tell you why. I'm going to read you something. And I just so happen to see this posted in the channel. I have no idea who it's from, but regardless of who posted it, it is super accurate.
It's not at all. The first thing they say is that there's no more mail-in voting. Mail-in voting still in place, and expanded mail-in voting still in place. Like the expansion that came through COVID is still there. Voting should be easy, right?
It's long and I don't know how to read well, so... Here we go. And this is in regards to voting tomorrow. This is not 2020 anymore. Everything has changed. There are no longer mail-in ballots mandated nationwide. That's true. They were mandated because of COVID. They're not anymore. So are there still mail-in ballots? Yes, there are. But are they as widespread as they were? Keep in mind, in 2020, they had to pull off so much fraud. And the mail-in ballots were a big part of why the fraud was successful. Those mandates aren't in place anymore. There are no longer mail-in ballots mandated nationwide. That was their easiest road to cheat, and they needed tens of millions of fake votes to barely pull it off in 2020. Also true. I don't know what I just said. So now they have...
I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying that was a claim that was in his chat and it got deleted.
Knowingly coordinated, quote, a conspiracy to steal the election using tens of millions of fake voter registrations in order to increase the voter rolls to match the steal using machines. Let me explain. Because of the absence of the nationwide mail-in ballots, okay, that exists in 2020, they tried to pump up the voter rolls. They figured, okay, well, if we can't use the mail-in ballots, we need to put all these fake names on the voter rolls. And then we'll win that way through fraud. We're still trying for fraud because they can't win an actual election. We know that. Everyone knows that. They know that too. So they tried to increase the voter rolls. Let me read on. They tried to increase the voter rolls to match the steal using machine. But they failed already. The race is already over. Here's why. How did Trump beat them? He already knew their plan. Trump controls the Republican Party leadership now. They've done an excellent job and deserve the credit. Keep in mind the changing of speaker back and forth, McCarthy to blah, 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 Johnson. Trump has the Republican Party, the whole party. They're completely unified behind him. Anybody that tells you different is not telling the truth. So that is true. He does control that party. And through that party, through a very elaborate series of moves, behind-the-scenes moves, some of, the following things were done. They, meaning the Republican leadership, along with several key independent allies, have beaten the Democrats in registering new voters. And it's not even close, especially across the swing states. So, in other words, because the mail-in ballots were gone, the Democrats needed more voters to pump up that fraud. So all these new Democratic voters started getting on the voter rolls in all these states. Now, keep in mind, too, you don't need to steal the entire country to win the election. That's not what happened in 2020. 6 counties. That's all you needed. 1 county in each swing state. That's all you needed. Out of all the counties, the 3,000 some counties, you needed 6. If you could steal the votes in those 6, the other states are going to go how they go. You don't got to worry about that. All you need is these 6. So what you saw early on.
So the thing about the Phil talks here in a second about the Supreme Court saying that illegals can't vote. That's always been true. So what's going on in Virginia right now is they found some non-citizens that were on their voter rolls, and they know these people are non-citizens, and they don't allow them to, their votes don't count, right? If they tried to vote, they don't count. These are people that somehow got added to the voter rolls, but they don't actually vote because if they do, it doesn't count, right? The issue is not that the Supreme Court ruled that illegals can't vote. Illegals have never been allowed to vote. The Supreme Court ruling says, so what happened is Virginia wanted to purge their voter rolls of these illegals that they've identified, right? Non-citizens that they've identified. The problem is that a lot of law, or there's law in place that you can't fuck with a voter roll so close to an election. So a court stepped in and said, hey, like, of course we need to purge these people off the voter rolls, but we can't do it right now because there's federal law. It's the National Voter Registration Act of 94, 93, somewhere around there, early 90s, that says that you can't remove people You can't purge people from the voter rolls this close to the election. And the reason that law's in place is because if they accidentally purge you, let's say for some reason they've got you picked up as an illegal or something, right? If they accidentally purge you and you are a legal citizen, you don't have time to fight it to vote. So what a nefarious actor could do is grab a giant block of people, say we think these are all non-citizens, purge them all, then you go up to show up to vote and you're not registered anymore, right? So yes, you can still prevent these non-citizens from voting by canceling their registrations on an individual basis, but you can't do a giant purge of the voter rolls this close to the election because you couldn't fix it if you were accidentally named. It's the same issue I have with like the no-fly list or gun registries, right? If who's deciding, who fucks it up, who decides who's on the list, who decides who isn't on the list, how do I fight it, who do I speak to, do I have time to fight it, those types of things. That was the what's going on with the Supreme Court case.
On was the Democratic voter rolls being skyrocketed. Guess what? Guess what? On those same voter rolls in those same counties, the Republicans destroyed the Democrats in how many people, how many new voters registered. Not even close. In some cases, 2-1 at worst. In some cases, 10-1. And I'm talking about in counties that are swing counties, the important counties. The Republicans outran the Democrats in their chance to perpetrate fraud in this sense.
It's called a 90-day quiet period where you can't fuck with the voter rolls within 90 days of an election. They said that some of these people self-identified as non-citizens, but may have actually accidentally checked the wrong box. And maybe you just got on the list by accident.
But Trump also did something huge, which has never happened before. He ordered his supporters to vote early. And we have responded big time. Republicans are leading in early voting in almost every and all of the swing states. And this has shocked the corrupt political machine. In the past, Republicans were told by leadership and right-wing media to vote only on election day. Remember that? Vote.
Yeah, I'll be live streaming for hours tomorrow, probably.
Only vote on election day. But now everyone's saying, vote early. Get out there, vote early. We already have an insurmountable lead. We now know what to look for on election day in case they try to push fraud through. And boy, are we looking. That purposely allowed the Democrats to gain a large lead going into the election day, meaning when we voted on election day. That purposely allowed the Democrats to gain a large lead going into election day and guarantee a close election. It made it much easier for Democrats to steal the election.
This wasn't true, right? The lead that appeared early on was for Republicans and Trump. Remember when he said everything was fine, 3 a.m., they changed the votes. What actually happened is way more people, Republicans voted in person than mail-in and stuff. And the mail-in and absentee and shit doesn't get counted till the end.
Purposeful fraud strategy has now been destroyed. It took a massive effort that was easily exposed to barely steal the election.
Sometimes they can't even open them till the polls. They can't even open the envelopes till the polls are closed.
2020. That was the Democrats winning the election with a big lead. Now they are losing enormously going into election day. Without fake mail-in ballots across the country that they could count for days, they have no other way to steal it. They are still trying, but they will fail. Too big to rig was a strategy that purposely was held back for 2024. Biden was allowed to steal it in 2020 so that we could be where we are today. The Democratic Party is losing support in every single demographic, and every single corrupt system has been exposed completely. The Great Awakening is massive, and it continues to grow. The entire political landscape has completely changed, and the entire political establishment was caught by surprise. It is in huge, full-fledged panic. And to that, all the court cases are exposing fraudulent registrations before the election. Remember I shared the other day how the Supreme Court ruled that the illegal immigrants, I think it was in Virginia, was it? I don't know what to say, but the Supreme Court SCOTUS ruled that you cannot put an illegal alien on as a voter. And once that's ruled on by the Supreme Court, that's precedent across the country. So that's never going to be changed. So even though it was only one state that they made that ruling in, it now goes across the entire country. No one that is an illegal alien, including all of the people that have just poured over the border, they can't vote. Doesn't matter what state you're in. Let them vote election day, fine. But once we realize that they're not citizens of the United States, they're not voting anymore. SCOTUS just made a decision a few days ago. So that's accurate in that sense. I love this article. After that, all the courts exposing the fraudulent registrations before the election. This is happening throughout the swing states. Evidence is finally entering courtrooms, and this is setting the table and laying the groundwork for full exposure of conspiracy or fraud after the 2024 election.
By the way, the Department of Justice claims that they've reviewed a lot of these non-citizen voters and that they are actually citizens that were removed from bureaucratic errors. Like you didn't check the wrong box, but like when you were talking to somebody, getting your driver's license or whatever, because they use DMV data, they accidentally checked the wrong box or didn't check the right box or whatever. And these people are actually going to show up to vote tomorrow, and they're not going to be able to vote.
Pelosi herself has recently threatened to sue Trump after the election to prevent him from being declared the winner or being inaugurated. We welcome those lawsuits. We're winning multiple court cases now, unlike in 2020. Everything has changed. Trump has forced their hand by taking a commanding lead, and this will force the race to be called early. That completely eliminates the Democrats' plan to count for days. The enemy's only play left is to sow chaos after the election. We're ready for that. The military has been waiting for the green light with anticipation. I couldn't agree more with what I just read. Everything for this election to be a free and fair election has been done. That's not my gripe. My gripe is, why were we told otherwise? You know, that's what really, I just don't understand. Maybe I just don't understand it yet because it's not fully clear and it won't be fully clear until after.
Jesus, they put a lot of ads on this video. I can see why the comments were complaining about it.
But I'm telling you right now, you got to vote. I've been saying this the whole time. Now, for the past 4 years, I told you that there's not going to be an election. However, I always put the caveat in there, and you guys know this if you watch me. If there is an election, in the event that I'm wrong, which apparently I...
Just today, he made a post that says you can't outvote you can't be too big to rig if it's in the algorithm. But then he claims that he's always said to vote.
I want to say that I'm wrong. You guys don't understand
which
that.
Is true.
Information,
which is false.
To you. So it's not me guessing. It's me quoting a source. And that's why I feel like a freaking idiot, because I've said this before. There's a big video, a meme going around saying, I'm an idiot. There's probably another one right now. Great. Woo, that was dumb. My gripe is, why do I get told the incorrect information? I think that's very bad. Now, I can tell you some information I was not incorrect on, and that's metals. You're seeing the precursor to an incredible rise in metals.
Here's the ad he sticks in for his metals.
Now, I'm not a financial expert, but just go read. All you gotta do is go read. Look what's happening with metals. So many of you that have rolled over 401ks and IRAs, if you haven't done that, by the way, I got a huge audience tonight, so I might as well say it. Goldquiz.com. If you have a 401k or an IRA, you need to get there and you need to roll it over. Everything we said about metals for the last 4 years has been accurate. But I'm telling you right now, get off metals. Goldquiz.com, by the way. Getting off metals.
It's going to be so hilarious if a bunch of goddamn Trumples, a fucking Tulu gets purged from the voter rolls.
You need to vote tomorrow, because this appears that it's going to be a fair election. And I think what you're going to see by the end of tomorrow night, maybe around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you're going to see Trump declare the winner. But that's only if we get out there and vote. We cannot screw this up. Please don't screw it up. Please get out there and vote. If you're one of the people that has said, oh, well, we've been lied to for 4 years.
People said the H on his hat meant that he was predicting a Harris victory.
So I'm never going to trust anybody again. You could lose the election for us with that stance. I'm telling you right now, if there's enough of you that refuse to vote tomorrow, you could cost us the election. Why? Because it's a free and fair election. We need your votes. We need it to happen. Am I proud to be sitting here like an absolute idiot telling you to vote after I said I was not being an election? Don't worry about it. Do you think that makes me feel good looking at myself in the camera right now, knowing that I told you that there wouldn't be an election? No, it doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel like an idiot. Regardless, you need to vote. If I'm an idiot or not, all I care about is getting Trump back in office to complete the final step and eradicate the ball. Eradicate. Not just hurt, not just put a big wound inside like I said before. Eradicate.
You have to realize Phil's only trying to extend his career. Everything he said has been wrong. Even if Trump gets elected, there's not going to be tribunals, there's not going to be an EBS, there's not going to be an Nassar, there's not going to be any of the things he predicted. So he just wants it to keep going, right? As he'll say anything to keep it going for as long as possible. If Trump doesn't get elected, he'll come up with some shit that he's working in the background, and we all know he's still in charge, and the Supreme Court's going to fix it or whatever. If he does get elected, he'll say it's all in the background going on. He'll misread executive orders and claim that they're for tribunals or what. He's just trying to keep it going. He needs the money.
You need to crush him. And he's going to crush him.
Well, correction, he doesn't need the money. If he wouldn't have spent the money the way he did, he wouldn't need the money. But now, hell, just property tax is going to be fucking insane amounts for Phil.
We did our part over the last 4 years. Now is time for victory. We need to win the election. Honestly, sitting here tonight, after, I didn't feel good earlier today. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to get to that in a minute. But after I just sat here for the last 2 hours and went from, I didn't do this earlier. This is why I didn't feel good. And I don't mean I had a stomach ache. I had a bad feeling about the election. But now that I just sat here for the last 2 hours and I went from day one, when it all started, hit all the important points in the middle, and we got up to November 4th, 2024, I feel great. I feel like tomorrow is going to be I think tomorrow is going to be the biggest landslide ever. Why? Because we're going to come out and vote like we've never voted before. They can't commit fraud. Or if they try to, it's going to...
There were people in his comments saying, you need to watch so-and-so. She's a psychic. And said that Trump will win in a landslide by, I think they said by, they say 11 p.m. Pacific time, maybe? I can't remember when they said.
Don Jr. Made a comment about make it too big to rig, whatever. I was worried about the machines. You know what they did with the machines? You know what? This is what I was talking about. They don't report this stuff. They want to report how Kamala this and Kamala that and Trump this and Trump that. And they're trying to distract you so much, but they don't want to let you know that Dominion was crippled. All the ways that Dominion committed fraud, you remember the graph? All they had to do was enter an algorithm and all these votes were, flipped or switched or whatever.
Remember when he said the midterms were going to be a gigantic red wave because they had fixed everything? Then he said that was all a joke because he was actually watching the cheating happen with the Army on the special Army cheating computer.
Given extra for Biden for every one Trump vote, Biden was 1.035 or whatever it ended up being. That's done. There's been legislation that's been passed under our noses. There's been laws in certain states, especially the swing states, that prevent many of the tactics that Dominion and the voting machines had in place in 2020. They're no longer in place. So now, I believe...
Except Dominion's won on their lawsuits about that, so...
For the first time, probably since I was alive, that we're about to vote in a fair election. I know that's mind-boggling, considering everything that's happened over the last 4 years, but I think tomorrow is going to be an absolute knockout punch for the Democratic Party, to the tune of, by the time Trump finishes his second term in 2028, there is going to be no Democratic Party anymore. We said this a long time ago that it's either... There's no parties anymore. There's no Republican Democrats. Either you're a patriot or you're a traitor. And I think that's exactly how it's going to end up. We have a bunch of patriots and we have a bunch of traitors. What side are you on? And if you want to be a traitor...
Thank you, Rob.
The ramifications.
Appreciate it.
The social exile, the shunning, the whatever it is. We'll deal with that later. I think I have a very important role post-election here, and I'm starting to see what it's going to be. But we'll talk about that another time. They don't have mail-in ballots. The reason they don't have mail-in ballots is because they don't have a virus. COVID-19 was ushered in to change the laws illegally. in certain swing states, especially Pennsylvania, like mine brothers as well, Arizona, to allow mail-in ballots. That was their key to victory. The machines are obvious. It's obvious when you cheat on machines because you could see it.
I wish every state would become a swing state. That could go either way. So the argument right now for the electoral college is that, hey, you know, that's the only way that smaller, less populated areas get, you know, a say in the election. But really, it's not like that anyways. It's down to like 6 or 7 swing states that decide the election.
Right? We saw it. We knew right away. We saw the votes being switched on the television screen for crying out loud in 2020. So they can't make up for the lost mail-in ballots with the machines. Not only that, even if they could, they can't anyway, because the machines don't do what they used to do. The connectivity to the internet and the way that they would have to be switched, and the server farms that were in Skytle in Frankfurt, Germany back in 2020 when this all went down, and Italy's
It's Seidel, not Skydel.
role, and Obama's role,
Whatever.
well, they exposed themselves. We know of all of that now. We know what they did last time. And honestly, if you eliminate what they did last time, which we have, and you monitor this time closer, there's no way that they could cheat. Could they pump up Democratic voter rolls and be like, oh, look at all these votes. This one's from, oh, wait, he's not a citizen. Don't worry, count it anyway because he voted for Kamala. That's not going to work.
Jesus. Protect the vote.
Supreme Court just said, just a few days ago, which really quick.
Don't try it.
I'm assuming. The Supreme Court just said a few days ago that you can't do that. And if that's a ruling in one state, that is a ruling across the country. It's called precedent. The precedent is set. I think we're in good shape.
That's not what the Supreme Court ruled on. The Supreme Court said that, yes, you can continue with the purge because the Voting Rights Act of 94, whatever it is, doesn't actually apply to non-citizens. But the argument is that a lot of those people are citizens and just the wrong box was checked. So it's going to fuck some people tomorrow when they go to vote.
I think we're going to win. And I'm 100% serious. Like, I don't have a doubt in my mind that it is going to be the biggest victory anyone has ever seen in any election, especially in the United States. You need to get out and vote. You need to do that like your life depended on it. And I'm telling you right now, I want you, either before or after, I want you to dedicate your day tomorrow to voting. And I don't mean you go vote. That's not what I mean.
By the way, at the same timestamp that Trump supposedly called Phil, which I showed you, he can't even fake a call log correctly. He was also speaking live at a rally.
Easy for you to go vote, right? Get up, get in your car, drive to the place, vote, come back, sit on your couch, watch results. Is that what you're going to do? No, it's not. What you're going to do tomorrow is you're going to do that. But either before you go to vote, you're going to go drag somebody out of their house to vote. Make sure they're going to vote for Trump, of course, but don't drag out a Democrat. They're probably not going to vote for Kamala anyway, so don't worry about it. But regardless, I digress. You are going to make sure, you're going to make it your mission tomorrow to get someone to that poll. Oh, I'm not voting. I don't want bullshit. Get them by the shirt and be like, vote. And get them there. And if you've already voted early, excellent. Go find somebody that didn't vote tomorrow and get them to vote. I'm telling you right now, my whole day tomorrow is going to be dragging my family to the polls. You need to take it over the top. It can't just be, let's go vote. Yay, I got my little sticker and I voted and I put it on Instagram and Telegram and the Grams and whatever. I don't give a shit about your sticker. How many people did you get to the polls that voted that wouldn't have otherwise voted? Your goal should be 5. That's your goal. Anything less than that's unacceptable. Anything more than that, you are a rock star. 5 people, plus yourself, but 5 people other than yourself that weren't going to go, that went because of you. That's what I want from you guys. I think you can do that for me. And if you live in a swing state, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, who did I miss? Wisconsin, Michigan, who did I miss? Wow. Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan. Who's the 6th swing state?
Georgia.
Am I losing my mind? Who's the 6th swing state? Somebody say it before my blood pressure gets too high. Georgia. Lord, how can I? Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona. If you live in one of those 6 swing states, you should
Jesus fucking Christ.
10 people instead of 5, other than you, who weren't going to vote, but you drag them out. And don't be violent. No one's saying, Phil's not sitting here saying, oh, well, Phil told me to punch you in the face, otherwise you're going to get my gunpoint or knife point. I'm not saying any of that. You guys know that. Well, some of you might not know that. And get a lawsuit dropped in the mail. Hey, Phil told me to kill this guy. Please don't be violent, but do your convincing. You know, all of this, everything that we've been together for the last 4 years, and even before that, for a lot of my nons, everything that we've been through leads to this moment. He needs to win tomorrow. You know, and am I confident that Trump's going to win? You bet you. Do I think Kamala can win an election for anything? Anything? Do I think that she could win an election for school board?
North Carolina as well, but he left that one out.
Or for county? No, I don't. I don't think she could win any election. After everything that's happened over the last 4 years. First of all, in 2020, she was a candidate and didn't even get 1%.
It's Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia.
The vote in the Democratic Party. Everybody else got more votes than her. She was literally last. So the Democratic Party wanted everybody else other than her. And now she's a candidate for president 4 years later. You gotta be kidding me. It's like the Democratic Party doesn't even want to vote for her. Will she get some votes for those stupid people out there? Of course she will. Because those people are fooled by the media. They don't want people like me. They listen to Scarborough and the CNN guys and all that. That's fine. Their day's coming too. Regardless, vote. Vote like your life depended on it. Get other people to vote with you. And
thank you for the donation. Spiritually you.
We're going to win. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be close. But don't let that statement prevent you from going out and voting. Oh, it's not going to be close, so I'm just tired. I don't want to do it. Get your ass on your feet. Get into some mode of transportation. And don't tell me, oh, well, I don't drive. Get a cab. Get an Uber. I don't care what you do. Get out there and vote, please.
Call Phil. He'll come pick you up.
Find your polling place. If you don't know where your polling place is, call.
Get off the streets, quick.
Where do I vote? Type in your state. Put in your name. I'll tell you exactly where you got to go. Please do that. We need to win this. We need to win this big. And I just looked at it for the first time. I have 49,300,000 people watching me right now. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for an amazing 4 years. Thank you guys for your trust and your...
Okay, so here's where he starts apologizing for everything.
Faith in me through the good times and the bad. I know I said a lot of things that didn't necessarily come to fruition. I know I said a lot of things that didn't necessarily resonate with you guys. I know I made a lot of mistakes. There was a period there where I was glorifying the trolls and only made them worse. There was a period that I got my head...
Anybody who would So anybody who, let's say you live in a state that's always red or always blue. Let's say you're a Republican in California. If they did away with the Electoral College, you would finally feel like your vote counted for something, right? Or if you're a Democrat in Tennessee, you would feel like your vote actually counted for something. Because those people feel like their vote it's useless, right? I live in a red state, there's no reason to do it, right? Or I live in a blue state, there's no reason for me to even vote.
I had stuck in lawsuits, against people.
Oh, thank you again.
I lost my way a couple times. I said bad things a couple times that I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry for it. I really am. I've changed a lot over the last 4 years with you guys, and I think it's all for the better. I hope that you've seen the changes that I've attempted to make during my shows to keep the bullshit out, the stuff that you really don't want to hear, because I really have. I've made a very concise effort to do exactly that because I've listened to your feedback, and I'm really sorry for going astray at the times that I did. There's some things that I said that I'm not proud of. There's some insults that I made that I'm not proud of, and I've asked forgiveness from
so
God.
He's been telling people to fuck off. He doesn't need them, right? Don't tell Phil how to run his show. His mods are banning people for asking him why he canceled this or that or whatever. Now he's saying, I really need you, and I've prayed for forgiveness, and I appreciate you sticking with me.
The only thing I think I need to get better at is showing up for lives when I say I'm going to do them, because I don't always do that. I seem to schedule a live and then not go to that live. That's not nice. It's not good. So I know. But 49 million people are still here, so I'm doing something right. I don't know what it is. It's probably, now that I think about it,
He had when I was watching, he had about 60,000 people.
Going to cause all viewership to go down.
Still crazy, still stupid, nowhere near what he lies about.
But that's fine because it's the end of the show anyway. It's probably just my charm. It could also be my good looks. Obviously, it could also be my good looks. Yeah, no, it's probably both of those things. Could be my well-groomed facial hair. I don't know what it is, but you guys keep coming back. So either I'm doing something right, or you guys are really messed up in the head. I love you guys.
Really messed up in the head.
Let's stick with the blackout theme for a little while. I have a little bit of intel on blackout, but I can't say it. So you'll know. Should we be worried?
I think it'd be a close race, but I think Kamala will probably win.
About anything? Should you be worried about anything safety-wise or anything like that? No. In regards to the blackout thing, I don't know if there's like a crazy person running around the neighborhood with a knife. I have no idea. I'm not saying don't be afraid of him, because if he has a knife, you should probably worry about that. But if he has a knife, you should have a gun because you're 2A supporters, right? Republicans. So just shoot him if he has a knife. He's coming at you. So the blackout thing. It's not anything that you need to worry about security-wise, but I wanted to mention it tonight, and I wanted to dress in black tonight, and I wanted to change my channels to blackout because when the relevance, the blackout happens, you're gonna know. I think I needed, like, after
blackout.
The election tomorrow and then coming on November 4th, the day before the election.
Blackout.
I felt like I needed a little bit of reassurance into my.
The white hat said blackout, guys.
So I threw that out there as a future proof. This one over here, Mark Dinger. He says, liar. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for your support. Oh, anyway. All right, love you guys. Let's get on both tomorrow. I may do like a little some posting tomorrow. I don't think it's gonna be live, but I may do some videos as the results come into. Maybe I'll just go live and dance. Who knows? Could happen. Love you guys so much. Goldquiz.com. Get there. Please get there, especially all 49 million people.
Oh, there's the second drop to the ad. Well, the third drop to the ad. Goldquiz.com. Get there. You need to get there. It's for you, not for me. Yeah, I make a ton of money through it, but this is for you. I want to protect your money.
Go there and roll over your 401k IRA and precious metals. Do that. Love you guys. See ya.
There you go, everybody. Phil in a manic state, begging people to vote, saying that he was wrong. He looks like an idiot. You look like an idiot for following him. Basically saying that you followed him for 4 years, repeated everything he said, tried to wake up those people around you. They quit talking to you, divorced you, left you, won't speak to you, won't let you see your grandkids. That was all useless because none of it happened. But you still need to go out and vote. And everything's behind the scenes, and there's still no proof. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. There's going to be an election. Kamala Harris is still on the ballot, and nothing changed. So there you go. Also, probably losing his court case. It seems like the more I read this ruling over here, it seems like he can't even claim that she's lying about the sexual relationship because he's already been e-stopped from claiming that it didn't happen in his other case. So I don't even think he's filed this appeal he claims that he's going to file. But even during an appeal, he claims that, we have evidence we didn't get to present. And in an appeal situation, you don't get to present evidence. You don't get to testify. They might call you in to answer some questions for clarification, but you don't get to testify. You don't get to put on a new case. They just look at what was already ruled on. You don't get a whole new case in an appeal, right? It's the same case. People just look at the same evidence. So nothing's going to change there. But he hasn't even filed it. So he's probably losing that case soon as well. He seems to be fit to be tied, I would say. Fit to be tied. Anyways, there you go. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for being here. I'll be live tomorrow for the stream. We're leaving. We got to go by the armory and do some stuff. That's like our disaster response area. Go by the armory and do some stuff. Go vote. Do all that shit. And then I'll be in here to stream some election coverage. If nothing crazy happens, I'll be here. please consider supporting the show and the campgrounds. We're rebuilding our lives, guys. We fucking lost all kinds of shit. So thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And I'll see everybody on the next one. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll try to keep you updated. If you follow my TikTok and all the flood stuff, we're just trying to put everything back together. I'm exhausted from everything. I think's the problem. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you
Go vote, even if it's for nothing but local elections.
listen, bitch, I can't
Go vote. You're right.
quit in a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, and to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your Huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself
Good night, guys.
in Jason Q's bedroom.